Okay, you're good to go.
Okay. We call the meeting to order if we all could rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, good evening, everyone. I just want to check, Veronica, we have sound.
As far as I know,
Okay.
yeah.
Just because we had a problem with it last time.
Yep.
Good evening. This is the December meeting of the Pompey Town Board. Present here tonight, Highway Superintendent D.R. Clay, myself, Renee Rotundo, Town Supervisor, Town Councilors, Ann Christmas, Jill Larkin, and Carl Dennis. We are,
Judy?
I mean, Judy McElhan and Carl Dennis. I was gonna say, sorry.
I don't look like Sheila.
No, you don't. I was ahead of myself because in my mind, I was going to report that Sheila is tied up at a meeting with her day job and is unable to attend. But wanted everyone to know that she will send some sort of a note for the January meeting to be read into the record. So let me now get back on. Tom Chartrand, our budget officer, Tim Frateschi, our attorney, Veronica Hoteling, our webmaster, and sitting in the audience is Bob Rodriguez, our code enforcement officer. So I'd like to have a moment of silence. Tonight, we did lose, again, within the month, two more of our Pompey residents, and it really is telling when you see how many people we lost this year. It's been a lot of people. Carl Wager died on November 1st. He's 97 years old. Hope he lived a good life. His residence he's listed as Jamesville, but I do believe he ran some road. I was going to say, I do believe he lived in Pompey. Thank you, Ann. Ann knows all. And also Ed Mapstone, who passed away on November 21st. The Mapstone name is synonymous with Pompey in a lot of ways. So these two will be sorely missed. And I do want to acknowledge that this past month, Veronica's father,
Yes.
stepfather,
My
father,
stepfather.
passed away, and we want to extend our condolences to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So just a moment of silence for these three individuals. Okay, thanks. And Donnie Chrysler is here. So we can review the engineer's report now with our attorney present and then decide how to proceed at this point. So Tim, I just wondered, did you have a chance to review that and just give us a little guidance legally on where we stand?
So I've reviewed the report by Klepper, Hahn, and Hyatt. I see where the engineers have pointed out several structural concerns they have with the building. I don't see anything in this letter that would indicate the building is safe. It simply points out several structural problems with the building. And I think it ultimately is going to be the decision of the code enforcement officer, probably use even this letter to indicate whether it's a safe building or not. He speaks of occupancy and people shouldn't be occupying it unless these things are done, but he doesn't say this is a safe building. But I don't know if it was said at last meeting that it's uninhabitable, but safe. I don't see that in this report.
No, I don't see I think it was orally represented by Mr. Chrysler,
Okay.
that the engineer doesn't deem it unsafe, but that it's not inhabitable.
I don't see anything in this letter that says it's safe.
No, and
In fact, it points out that there's a lot of structural issues with the building.
yeah, and we hadn't really had a chance because we got it right before the meeting last month
Right.
to read it and have our legal weigh in. So I just wonder where we're at with some of these things. I'm sure that this list is a little just like concerning to you as well, because some of the things on here indicate that they should be done either immediately or before the winter or before the snow falls because of exposure and the weight of snow that could impact.
That was the porch that he did resonate that, should be done before. And actually, we did have John Newell's Construction, who has done several houses in the Pompey area, rebuild it and stuff that way. We were gonna restart that that end wall, but then John was like, John, we do all this work, you need to jack the floor, and it's gonna cost you a few $1,000s to get this set. And he's like, you could be told, we don't know where the town is at with this, so I'm suggesting we don't do it right now until you get confirmed that you can go in and do this. And also with the real estate agent, Don come up and took pictures and everything. But he's like on hold, and then it's like that's those areas that are pointed out before he would list it, he wants those taken care of also.
Okay.
So that was the other thing that, in order to make it saleable property that needs interior, it'll be interior work, but the main structure will be solid. And my goal is to have that on the market for actually the end of March of April. This is the goal, to be able to list it for.
So has there been any, I go by it all the time, so has there been any progress made since we were here in November?
I didn't want to tie any more money up until we knew what direction we were going. And so that's where that came to a halt.
Well, this work would have to be done prior to you putting it on the market. If you're waiting for the town to tell you,
Just that they weren't going to tear it down then. And that's where that's where we ended up.
Building's gonna have to be safe for real estate agents to bring applicants in. You can't
Yeah.
jeopardize people having something fall in on them when she's showing a client and bingo.
Well, that's why we're not putting on the market until those are taken care of. And that was the,
But when do you commence taking care of it?
through this winter.
Starting date?
Like I say, I want to list it on the market for April, so all that has to be taken care of by then.
because right now you cannot have anybody safely walking in that house.
I guess, I don't know.
No, I'm just saying that, so. this
I
work-
know, I hear what you're saying, and I see where, like the attorney says that there was no statement saying that it was safe, but yeah. I don't know. He didn't feel that it was unsafe or anything, where he totally went through it, and he didn't suggest to me that there was anything that,
Did you read that report?
I did.
Can you point out to me on the report where it says that the building is safe?
No, because I can't. I don't see where he wrote that, So I know I spoke with him. He was wondering how it came because he was talking about engineering one of the trusses inside there on the upper floor. And he was wondering where we were at with it and how it went. And I said that it got tabled until next month because the date was changed and the attorney couldn't see it. So, I just told him to be next month before I knew.
Because you're, at this point, why do you need the town to tell you to take the building down if you believe the town, if the town says take the building down, will you take the building down?
That's a good question. I really would like to see it repaired and
But you haven't made any attempts in at least 2 years, probably more, to fix any of that building. So what gives this town board a sense of comfort that that kind of work will be done in the next month or so? What, I mean, based based on what,
Just, I hear what you're saying, and it's just the idea, I decided I cannot financially restore that building to what it needs. Can I repair what needs to be repaired? Yes. But I can't go in and interiorly totally do what it needs to be brought up to be a re-renovated older home.
all right, so that leaves us with an unsafe building that probably needs to be taken down.
Now, you're stating unsafe. He didn't state it was unsafe.
But our code enforcement officer has reviewed the building, looked at it, made a determination. We asked you to provide us with an engineering report that says the building is safe. Instead, what we got was an engineering report that points out all the unsafe parts of the building and nothing that would indicate that the building itself is safe.
Mhm.
That's what we're left with here. And this town board is in a dilemma. It doesn't want to, it wants to give you the opportunity to make the building safe, but it's given you that opportunity for 2 years at least, and it has, nothing's been done.
I don't think you can show it by just putting a sign up that says, enter at your own risk. That's not gonna work.
That's not, no, and that's not the intention whatsoever. The intention is to take care of the issues that the engineer pointed out.
Okay.
It needs to be repaired.
I have two questions. One is, would it be, if we wanted to, okay, to contact, is it Mr. Delosio, from the engineering company, the firm, to ask him his opinion on the safety of the building?
Sure. I mean,
I don't,
you could call, yes,
Okay.
you could call Mr. Jim.
Certainly we could.
yeah, so that's number one, and maybe, Tim, we could do that. But secondly, after our last meeting, I'm sure the rest of the board as well read through this list, and there's 8 items on it. Some of which are significantly more serious than others, but they all have a ring of, rotted wood, water damage, deteriorated structural damage, things being propped up, just in place of the supports that should be there, et cetera.
Mhm.
So there's 8 items on here. What are you representing to us that you can do with respect to these 8 items? Are you saying you can make these?
The 8 items, yes, that's
You can.
what the intent would be, to do what was pointed out by the engineer as an actual, that is a problem with the structure, that those will be taken care of before. Listen, and like I say, I plan on it going on the market in April.
Yeah. So the front porch, that's item number 3. The first one was regarding severe deterioration of attic level beams. That has a temporary install to support them. The second was the roof along the rear wall is leaking and the wood is severely rotted and wet. But the third one is a more serious one, which is the front porch, which is currently propped up with angled wood shores, I guess is what he called them.
Right.
Not a term I'm familiar with, but, and that this should be completed before the onset of winter and the foundations backfilled so that the roof snow does not overstress the shores and frost doesn't get in. So is that should be a priority, right? That one. The fourth is that the first floor framing is irregular. It's only marginally supported, severely angled and unstable. He did not note any specific areas that were unstable at the time. However, support should be installed. So that's another one, needs to be gotten to. I'm not sure it's the priority one. Number 5 is a large brick chimney pier is severely deteriorated and would need to be repaired prior to occupancy. 6 is the foundation walls under the undemolished portion of the house vary in condition. The areas of the walls with open mortar should be remortared to ensure stability. So that's another, the 5 and 6, they need to be addressed, not right. Then 7, the rear wall is open to the elements. And at least one large wood beam across that wall is severely rotted, should be removed. And according to this report, you represented to them that you would replace this wall with a new stud wall assembly, which they agree is a good plan. And also that the exterior wall sheathing and siding need to be installed to prevent water intrusion and further damage. So that seems to be another priority item.
That was what we did go to do in the middle, but then John was like, Dan, we gotta lift this down. It needs to come up 6.5 inches to get it straightened up. And before because I was thinking we were just gonna throw studs in there, throw OSB board on it, and then tie back it. But he was, done. We gotta tear it all up before we gotta level it.
So you have to do preliminary work before you can even do
Actually start
item
that up,
7.
That's,
Yeah. So then in number 8, just so we round it out, the small enclosed porch, which is on the west side of the building, I think I know where that is, distressed, stone foundation is deteriorated. So that doesn't seem to be an immediate, according to this report, structural need, but it needs to be addressed. So, I mean, these are pretty, I was surprised, they're pretty significant. These are like, there's a lot of work to be done here. So that's why I'm seriously asking if you are planning to address all of these 8.
Yes, that's the intent. We go in and get it.
So what's doing with the porch?
Huh?
What is doing with the porch? What's the plan at this point on the front porch that's temporarily supported?
That's temporary. It was to put the pillars in, the supports, and that's it, rebuild it.
But I mean, what's the plan to rebuild it at this point? Only because your engineer is saying these should be done before winter comes, and
Yeah, I hear you.
except for the fact that the temperature hasn't dropped, we'd have snow these days instead of all this rain, but so, I mean, that's some benefit, but I don't want to see this building torn down, but the condition it's in is significant. It's serious.
Mhm.
So I think I'm looking for something from some representation from you. I think I speak for the board in this, that you're going to be able to do it.
For what needs to be done, I feel that it's all doable. And I mean, that was it when I'm gonna call him Jim because his last name I can't pronounce. But when he was in there, that, he gave me ideas on what I need to do with the header plate where that one beam is rotted and stuff and the stud walls. And then that was it. Like I said, he contacted me after the meeting, was wondering how it went, because he has an idea for that other structure that on the attic, the support anyway there. He had some ideas, but wasn't going to involve time and paper and pencil unless there was a formal motion to do it.
Bob, do you have any input?
I don't see that front porch roof staying there. When we get another heavy snow load. I don't see those temporary supports holding that much longer. Between the ground not being frozen and just what you've got there for supports, any type of load on that roof is going to collapse that. I've not been in this building. I'm not an engineer, so I really can't say, but just from the outside, I know Klepper Hahn, and I worked with this firm quite a bit on some big projects. I don't know this gentleman in particular, but along with Tim, I would like to speak with him as well, but he's not telling us what we want, what one way or the other with this building, if this building is structurally sound or not.
So maybe the two of you could conference call with
I would
this firm.
be comfortable doing that because my concern is the building has not changed. You've torn the garage down, you've cleaned it up some. you've done some work on the front porch, but that work has stalled in the last 3 months. You keep saying you want to do this work, you want to do this work. When will this work get done? You're not telling us when this work is going to get done. My feeling is it's got to get done sooner than later, or I don't want to speak, I can't speak for the board, but we set a deadline with this and say you've got this much time to get the work done. If not, then that's when we have to take legal action. We've been dealing with this, almost 7 months now, and this is the first time. You said before you were going to do work on this building, and before I get, serve you the paperwork, and it hasn't happened. It's an eyesore to the town. It's a structural, it's a safety concern to the town. When do we stand up for this enough?
Or as an alternative, there is one more month where you and the attorney both talk with the engineer and get another report with it that's more basic with detail. And if we don't find anything out of that, then next month it's down.
Here again, Mr. Clarkson's gonna have to pay for that report. Are you willing to put out the $1,000 for there? I don't know what he's gonna charge it, but are you willing to put out that money for that report? We need to know by the structural engineer whether this building is sound or not. And this letter does not tell us that.
Well, a follow-up letter based on, I don't think, a follow-up letter, it's probably gonna be some hour. I don't want to bankrupt him like Donnie without, like, leaving him without the ability to make the repairs. So I'm hoping that if you can get a follow-up phone call, you and Tim get on the call together, maybe get something in writing from him as a result of that. I mean, this was the request that the board made, was that we get a report from the engineer, and it does fall just short of saying, it doesn't make the conclusion. It gives us all of the findings, all 8 of these, and
Major.
they're pretty major, and yet he doesn't give us an opinion on whether he thinks the building is safe or not. He does say it's not inhabitable, and nobody would probably be able to live there, but
It's almost not.
whether or not it's safe or not, and I don't know if, and Tim, is it up to the engineer to determine that, or is it up to
No, it's
Bob or the town, or
It's up to the town. Ultimately, it's up to the town board to determine whether a building is unsafe based on all the evidence that's been provided to it. And that's
Yeah.
where we're going.
Do we bring in a structural engineer? And
No, at this point, we could bring in a structural engineer, but then the cost of the structural engineer is gonna go on top of the cost of whatever the
Yeah.
removal is going to be, and that's gonna be ultimately all charged against the house and Mr. Chrysler.
You've been awarded 20,000 towards tearing it down in the beautification program, right?
Yes, I understand that they approved that.
So then why aren't you using that money to take it down?
I think because he
It was all
doesn't.
on determination. That, if the house was rebuildable, fixable, that's where that determination point was.
Well, any house is rebuildable, or anything is rebuildable or you can make it. You don't have the resources to do what is going to be required to make this home even sellable, it sounds like. We're going around and around with the same question. And ultimately, if you applied to the county for funding to take the house down and you received it, I'm at a loss to understand why you just don't go forward and take that money and do that as part of a beautification program in the hamlet.
In
I
fairness,
actually did not.
he did not apply
Okay.
for it to be used for demolition. That's what they awarded it for. So I don't know. And that's something that I was a little bit surprised at when the monies came through, that it was for demolition. I don't mean to speak for you, but I saw, but I know I sent the application in, so I know what you requested.
Right.
And it was for improvements to the property.
Right.
So it wasn't for demolition. I don't know if they
And the
just,
way that did get turned around was, I did contact Mr. Knapp, Dave, and I told him that if if the decision by the engineers was the house to be demolished, could I use that money that way? So
Yes.
I'm not looking at that, in the repairs of the house, that I get any money from the county, because that's what it ended up being dedicated toward.
That makes sense. I did not know about your contacting our county legislator, so that's why that happened. I was confused when he came in and announced the awards, and yours was for demolition, not,
And I didn't know that was even how it was, but that's how I thought, maybe possibly, because I did contact Mr. Knapp
Yeah.
about it, as to if that came down to that, could it be used for demolition?
We've been dealing with this 5, 6, 7, 8 years. It's been
yeah.
going.
And I realize that, and financially, finally, in the last 2 years, we've gotten turned around, and whatever, I'm in just a lot better financial set than I
Oh,
was
that's good.
18 months ago.
So the improvements could commence right away then.
They will, yes. That was it. It was like John was saying when I got him up there and we were gonna put those studs up and everything, and then it's like, Don, we gotta raise up this here, we gotta get that foundation back, and it's like, this is gonna cost you more money than just throwing studs up and stuff, and it's like, and if we do it, it's gotta come back apart in order to properly do it right. And the idea is to resell the property to somebody who can afford to go in and redo the inside of the house and everything and whatever it needs. But the structural issues, I realize, have to be taken care of before I even try to sell the house, really.
Do you have an idea of all, the cost of this? That's where I was going.
Yeah.
That's, how much is all of these 8 items that you, especially since there's this preliminary work of raising up the, I'm not gonna say it right. The foundation, yeah, whatever. Don't laugh.
Jack and the-
And so do you have any idea how much this could cost you? I just want to know, is it realistic to expect that you could do it? And honestly, if you don't know, you don't know. I'm just wondering if you've done any cost.
Some, but not totally. I mean, John was like, hey, we can redo this for like $3,500. That lifts up that end of the house there, the port, or it's the kitchen area. It reset that and then repair that foundation underneath it, and stud and the OSB board. It's come down in price, no longer $50 a sheet, 17, and
Oh, good.
that I have an idea of. And the other, it's more time consuming than real materials, other than I don't know what Mike was coming up with for that truss for that one beam inside the house. I don't know what he, that was it.
Well, why don't Bob and I speak with the engineer, and I will make a recommendation at the next meeting after the engineer gives us a sense of what the structural condition of the building is.
Sounds good.
And in the meantime, if there's any work that you could do, for instance, on that front porch or
The
to,
front porch, and I sort of, one thing that did it, just, it became harvest time, and I ended up
yeah,
pull away and different things, combines, everything else, everybody's trying to get the last minute grains
Yeah.
and harvested, and it's like, I don't know, I told a lot of people I couldn't do anything, but then whatever.
no, and I get that, and I understand. I'm just saying, maybe as a gesture of good faith, that you're gonna be able to do these repairs in between now and the January meeting, you could do some of it.
I would think by the end of the week, the porch can be back together,
Okay.
supported and stuff.
Okay, so let's put this off to January. And let's see what we get from a discussion with your engineer and then what work you've done. And we probably really do need to make a decision, one way or the other. It was a beautiful house and it has historic meaning, and you inherited it already like deteriorating. So it's not because you have it that it's in the condition it's in. It's just that at this point, it's no longer a beautiful house and it's not safe. Or at least it seems not safe from this report. These 8 conditions seem pretty severe.
Mhm.
You bought the house at the courthouse.
Right, and it's 3 or 4 years with nobody there, whatever.
Yeah.
And you paid 25,000.
Yeah. 3, yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know it was in rough shape when you got it even, so, but it just continues to,
No, right, with nobody
know.
in there, it's.
so let's be done with this for tonight. And you're free to leave. You don't need to stay for the rest of the meeting, but we will revisit this in January and with a little bit more of a definitive
Mhm.
answer, hopefully, from your engineer. Okay,
Yep,
so I hope you have a nice holiday.
yes, I'm gonna listen to what's going on.
Oh, all right, you can stay. Okay. Great, and I have to apologize to Nikki Reed. She is actually part of this meeting and I did not acknowledge her, but she's a little under the weather, decided to Zoom in instead of being here personally. So Nikki, I am so sorry that I didn't acknowledge you.
No problem.
Yeah, I know, you're so sweet about it, but I'm used to like going around the room here. I forgot about the person on there. So anyway, so Tom Chartrand, let's move on to your report.
Okay. So on the monthly statement of the supervisor, lots of interesting things going on. Like kind of a light month for town clerk fees. One court fee came in, a couple of small refunds. We did receive our NYSERDA grant, and since we'll be doing the furnaces in January, it looks like we'll appropriate that into the line for doing those.
I think that's for the LED lighting for the highway.
Oh, is that what that one is?
Pretty sure that the NYSERDA money, the application that John submitted is for that.
Oh, okay.
So, and Tom, you are rarely wrong. So
Well, I didn't get any
I need to
detail on
correct
the
you.
check. I thought it was because we reached our certain number of points. that
we did. And then the result is that is you submit an application to NYSERDA explaining what you want to do. And I think
Okay.
we decided, and actually the LED lights in the town hall were installed today. So these are LED lights that we are all sitting under. And all of the flies are gone.
Nice.
Well, either way, it goes into the A1640
Yes.
account.
That's true, whatever.
And we're not doing that project until,
I think John was waiting, he needed a second, because of the
Quote.
cost of it, he needed a second cost, or a second quote. excuse
okay,
me.
so it'll be January, so we'll appropriate it to January.
Okay.
Okay. Charter Communications, our last franchise fee came in. We were $383 to the good on franchise fees, so that's great news. We did get reimbursed by FM School District for Nikki doing the tax collection. We're still waiting for the JD refund to come in. The rest of the way down through was a very quiet month for us, so nothing really exciting on the rest of the page. As far as big picture items, our general spending is currently at about 67% without SOTS. Our revenue came in at 108 so far. Our highway spending's at 64,000. Of course, we had the big bill there for the CHIPS work, so that's
I'm sorry, what's the percentage?
64% for highway.
64%?
And our revenues are at 97% for highway.
Okay.
So we're very close to budget on highway, and we've slightly exceeded budget on the general fund. So from the main report, I did come up with one transfer. VR had asked to have some additional funds put into the machinery line. As you saw tonight, there was a large repair bill that came through. So fortunately, we're way under on the health insurance employee benefits due to the mix and staff change down there. So if we're happy with that, we should probably do that.
I'll make a motion. We approve the transfer from highway fund.
I second it.
Sorry, I was distracted thinking about something else. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carried.
While you're on transfers, at the December meeting, I normally ask the board to authorize the supervisor to make any necessary end of the year budget line item transfers. In case there's something that we missed or something happens between now and the end of the year that we need to exceed a budget line item.
I'll
Make a motion
motion.
that supervisor be authorized to inline budget transfers.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I think the bank reconciliations made it down
I'll
through.
make a motion that we approve the bank reconciliations for the supervisor and town clerk tax collector be approved.
Second.
Ann made the motion and Carl beat Judy for second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Did we do the supervisors monthly?
No, I think we didn't. No.
I'll make a motion. We approve the supervisor's monthly report.
Second it.
Ann made the motion, Judy seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
And I'll make a motion that we approve the payment of the bills.
Second.
Judy seconded. The only discussion is I haven't finished signing them, so I don't know if I can.
Then we have to wait till.
Well, we've got 3 signatures.
Yeah, that's what I was
Okay.
gonna say. They could approve and I.
Yeah,
would
they can
abstain.
approve and you can abstain.
So
Okay.
there were just a lot. All those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain. Motion carried.
I think that cleared my list.
Okay. Nikki?
Yes, if the board had the chance to review my meeting minutes, I'm looking for acceptance for the 10-4 regular meeting, the 10-28 special meeting, and the 11-3 regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Nikki, I should have asked this before we did this, but did you see the suggestions I made on?
I did,
Okay,
so I was including them.
okay. And I did send it to the board as well, so they would, I think I should do that from now on so that they know that I've made some
Yeah, I think that's a
recommendations.
good idea.
And whether people agree with them or not, it can be brought up, but at least they're on notice before the
Okay.
meeting. Okay, is that it for you?
Yep, that's it for me.
Quiet month for you too, getting ready for the big January.
Yep, couple
season.
more weeks.
Yep. Superintendent Way,
Yes, ma'am.
anything from you?
We were able to finish the paving in Winding Creek Reserve Parkway. So Tom, question, there was some money that Tom Purcell told me about that Spruce Ridge had to go towards the paving project for Spruce Ridge South.
So Spruce Ridge South did have some funding left. So
Which was-
that would be part of that one that we classified as CHIPS, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
and actual Spruce Ridge South would be the Lumber Pine Circle.
Okay.
That was including in that paving project.
All right, let me double check that. So that will be, there's 11,294.17. And so we finished all of the Spruce Ridge South top coat.
Yep.
Okay, so I will apply all that and close that account out.
Okay. Let's see, we got a salt shed full of salt and sand, so that's good. Few young guys that can't wait to spread it.
Good for them. I'm glad they've got
Be
some
young.
They
Yeah,
are
enthusiasm about it. Getting up at whatever hour and getting out there.
Yep, we've been around 6 times so far, which hasn't been too bad. We talked about the list of obsolete equipment and stuff that I can either sell on auctions, unlimited or international, whatever it is, or scrap. that I don't know if you guys had discussed or approved or.
Well, this is the highway inventory list that BR just shared with me today, and he's on here are checked the items
I've
that,
seen it a
Okay.
lot.
and the ones that have, first of all, the ones that have data on them are
They
not
go-
going to
right.
be,
We'll hold on to them till.
yeah, we're not approving them until our
Let's have a
IT
resolution.
company looks at those to make sure that
I saw
the
it.
data is taken care of, but Nikki and I actually met trying to finalize the disposition of property policy, because we had a couple of, especially about the inventory. So what happened though, was we realized that we had more questions than answers. And so I was in touch with Tom Chartrand about it, and also with BR, and one of the things we definitely we're thinking we don't want to do, but we're not, it's not finalized yet is the bottom line. But we don't want every pen and pencil and calculator and it is not to come before the board. So the inventory sheet is really what we're focused on as far as getting board approval for the disposition of it. And the rest of it, if there's other items at the shop that are not part of this, whether we were looking at some signs today, some old signs that yield sign, and a couple others, that they could dispose of as they see, as a department head sees fit. That's what we're thinking about in terms of the policy. And then just maybe do an annual or biannual, or semi-annual, whatever kind of report to the board that they're, taking care of their own things. But, we're not going to be like having to approve every minute thing that anybody needs. That was never the intent
Well,
of
for
the
example, we
disposition.
got all the old two-way radios
Yeah,
that are analog and they're obsolete and they're no good to anybody that are just sitting down there,
yeah.
4 or 5 boxes full of them,
Oh, jeez.
that kind of stuff.
So we talked about either, if the board can approve the highway being able to dispose of these items, declare them surplus.
Well, there's two different levels. There's surplus and there's scrap. So if we're throwing them away or just they're going out as trash, it's scrap, and we declare there's no residual value. If we're gonna try to sell them on Auctions International, that list would be considered surplus. And we should be setting a residual value on the surplus.
And I have a little bit of both in there.
That's what I was gonna say. It's a mix. There's some that definitely have value and can be sold at auction. Or whatever, however, they can be reused, but there are others that are just of no value at all. So is it for, just so I'm clear, the department head to determine that it's of no value, so that they would come to us to say, approve it for scrap?
Mhm.
So it's the department head. So,
But he gives you the list and you should review the list and
Yes.
say, geez, this looks like, we paid $5,000 for this and it was a radio that hasn't worked in 20 years, but it's a large value. And you say, wow, that seems like it should have been worth something. You can review it with your department head.
okay,
The question, I think the ultimate answer is it's the board who makes the decision, but you do it based on the recommendation of your staff.
okay. So should I give this back to BR and ask him to break it out as to what's scrap and what is surplus, so that, and then we could,
Well, have you already indicated which ones you want to toss and which ones you want to sell?
he knows which ones, they're not on here as to which ones, you don't have it listed as to scrap. Well, some are says junk.
Some are junk.
I'll accept junk as scrap. I mean.
We got
I'm sure it's in
itemized. You want
the
us to
store.
declare those as scrap.
So anything on there that you have listed as junk, we should declare scrap?
Yeah.
As declared scrap and should be disposed of as scrap, and anything that is not declared,
So I highlighted the stuff that could go on auctions.
perfect.
And
Sounds like he's already done that for us.
3 things there.
That I didn't discuss with him today.
Now,
So-
now your accountant will need that list at some point by the end of the year so that I can start removing them from inventory.
Yes, and I want to revise this whole list for next year, so Do a complete inventory of everything again.
So if you wanna hold off until the end of the year, give me that list plus your new items that you want added. I would be glad to update the file at the end of the year.
So just so I'm clear, anything that's highlighted is probably that has value and could maybe go to auction or whatever. As
Yes.
surplus. Okay, so the highlighted items are surplus. I just want to make sure that we get this right, so
Right.
when we declare it right, and then anything on here that
little-
is asterisk
Yep.
Yes.
is junk
Correct.
or what should be called scrap.
Scrap,
Scrap.
junk, same thing. Speaking of which, did you get a check for a scrap? I sent it, the dumpster back probably 3 weeks ago.
I haven't gotten anything.
Anything?
Nikki, have you seen anything from, who was the company?
Metallico.
I haven't seen Metallico.
If there was anything, I would have put it in your box, BR, in
Oh, okay.
the room.
So nothing's-
I'll have to give them a call then.
So has everybody looked at this list and understands what the little indications are?
Yes.
Okay, so let me try a motion.
Right,
I would make-
Now, the only problem is we haven't set a residual on the things that are going to
Oh.
Auctions International. So there's two ways to do it. You preset your residual and then VR can release them when they meet the residual. The other way to do it is have the auction set up to end the day of our next town board meeting. And VR brings a list of what the final values are, and you decide at that point whether that's the proper
Yeah, that's
residual
right.
amount.
This doesn't have to happen.
Today.
No, it's,
Well, maybe what we could do is approve the scrap,
I would approve the scrap,
And
and we
that
haven't
way
got
you
rid
can
of that.
dispose of.
those things, because they have no value.
There's only like 3 things.
That's what I was,
Yeah.
and then there's 3 things on there that need a residual value, and we can address those next
that's
time.
fine.
Or he can go ahead and put them on auction and have scheduled the auction to end the day of the next town board meeting.
Okay.
The board can just approve it that night.
There you go.
Either way, the board needs to approve the value that we're selling it for.
Yep.
You either approve it a minimum now.
Yeah, let's do it next month. Let's do the surplus items next month.
That's fine.
Okay, and then we might also have a disposition of property policy that's closer to being.
And VR, you could get since you know what you want to surplus, you could kind of, get a rough idea of what they're worth.
Yep.
And then you just present that to the board. If they agree with you, then you're okay to auction it. As soon as it hits that residual at the end of the auction, you're allowed to release it
Okay,
without any further board action.
okay,
That's good to me.
that'll work.
That works.
Okay. Okay, so I am going to make a motion that we declare the items that are asterisked on the 5-page highway department inventory list as scrap and allow them to be disposed of. as
Second.
scrap. And seconded, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And then we will revisit the surplus items.
Does Tom
next.
need a copy of that so he can start?
He probably
or
does.
You're
As
gonna
long
wait
as
till the
VR
end of
gets
the
it
year.
to me at the end of the year, that's fine. He probably needs it for his purpose at this point, so. But Nikki will need a copy of it as well.
Anything else?
Yeah. The speed readers, we got half of it. We got the battery packs and the solar panels that were delivered today from Kenny K there. The 21st, he's expecting the rest of them to be in, so hopefully before the end of the year.
When does our grant end, Renee, do you know?
When does what?
How long does our grant go?
I would have to look
I
at
wonder
that.
if I
It's
might
not,
have it with me. See,
it's an agreement with the county. It's more
Yeah.
like it's,
I was wondering if I have it.
I don't have that with me,
I
but
don't see it.
I didn't. I hope,
Extend it.
They should be able to
Those
extend.
okay, not gonna worry about it then.
Last but not least, I talked to Judy today and we got everything in for the sign, so we can start assembling
Yes,
the posts and
good.
everything.
Yes, that would be nice.
And speaking of signs. Yeah. We had wanted to have something in here that was emblematic of the town of Pompey. So we took the logo, the town's logo, and we had Sign Solutions make this placard, and the highway
That was actually Tom and Pat.
were able,
That's their work.
well, it's very nice, and it just
Nice.
gives a little bit
It looks nice.
yeah, of a, more of a, it's very nice. So I didn't mention that either. I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe it's you,
Could be.
sitting next to you,
Gotta be.
yeah. So,
Yeah, don't forget to stay with the tree cutters on the tree
He's,
over.
yeah, he's gonna do it. Actually ended up going with Burfitt there. Yeah, he does a good job, but they had some sickness among the ranks there, so they've been out of commission for a couple.
Oh.
2-3 weeks now.
yes.
But he's gonna get on it.
Good. I want to hear that.
Yep.
that's it, that's it.
I'm good, thank you.
Well, I just want to thank Judy for all her hard work on the signs.
Oh, yeah, she did a good.
No, you
Oh.
organizing it. and working with it.
She did a great job. Nancy's awesome.
There's another Judy, she's caught whatever I have
I
tonight.
think I caught what you. I was
Put
listening.
our masks on.
Thank you.
Okay, so,
But it's been great working with Nancy. She's really amazing and really
Very
artistic,
talented.
and then having the town guys doing all the hard work putting them up is going to be another beautiful
yeah,
signs when he gets them all up.
yeah, that would be nice to have,
Get her
it
done.
really give a facelift to the signs entering the town.
Yeah, I can't wait to
Definitely.
see them.
Be nice.
What do we do with the old ones?
Yeah.
Declare them surplus or scrap.
Yeah.
I've just learned the difference, so depending on their condition, we will declare them something, so. Did you set me up for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Tim,
Yes. One thing, so the opt-out of the marijuana law was passed in October. Just as an update, it was, I think, 95 towns is what I read have opted out statewide. It's a little less than 10% of the towns who've actually opted out.
and 50 villages.
50 villages, so it was a lot less than I expected, frankly. We have filed the law with the state, so it's all set, and we have also registered with the Cannabis Control Board. In terms of opting out, we are fine. I would ask the board tonight to re-adopt the law because the public hearing notice wasn't crystal clear on the permissive referendum. I just want to get a notice out on that before the end of the year. So if somebody wanted to make a motion just to re-adopt the law, we aren't going to refile it. We're not going to do any of that. I just want to get a notice in the paper on the referendum.
I'll make a motion.
Re-adopt the law that we passed back 2 months ago.
Second it.
So Carl made the motion and Ian seconded. Any other discussion, any questions of Tim? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
And Nikki, I'll send you the notice for tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
It's all good.
And that is all I have.
I don't know if the town councilors, anybody have any reports? If we're.
Other than that, BR and I have been working on getting the signs put up, so I'm really anxious to get that done. So we're on top of it, aren't we, BR?
We are.
But I have to make a pie or two to get him going.
No, I don't think so. No.
Just kidding.
I'm glad John Kennedy got paid tonight.
Yeah.
That looks really nice.
And the price is right. And he
That's
will be
nice.
submitting a proposal to fix the ox yoke and the handles on the plow later on this year.
And the legs,
Oh.
the back
And the
legs.
back leg.
They got-
He's
take
got more
that.
to do and another proposal will come in.
Yeah,
Could be complete.
Does
Good.
really nice work.
Yeah, he does.
But we had no place to, oh, Nikki, I forgot to tell you, we have no place to put the reeds that you used to go on the yoke because the yoke is missing. So, and Nikki, I bought roping. And bows.
Oh, no.
So I'll drop them tomorrow and maybe we can decorate the oxen in some fashion so
Oh,
they
that'll
can
be
celebrate
nice.
the season too.
Check real cards.
I think that's a good idea.
So
Okay,
the
anyway, so new business, I don't have any old business on my section. I do have a little bit of new business. We do need to set the date for the organizational meeting, the date and time, and the first Monday in 2022 is the 3rd. So I don't know if we want to do a 6:30 meeting for the organizational meeting, January 3rd. But do we also want that to be the regular meeting too?
Yeah, why not?
We'll do both. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are we good, 6:30?
Well, usually what happens is you do the organizational meeting at 6.
Earlier.
15 and, or whatever.
Do it and then
time,
follow.
And then you follow with the
Well, let's-
regular,
okay.
Put this one back.
So
6:15.
January 3 at 6 PM will be the organizational meeting. And then we'll follow that at 6:30 with the regular.
Immediate following,
Yeah,
immediate.
I wouldn't,
Or
put
immediate.
time, just immediately follow.
Leave the
Okay.
times out.
Okay. So Nikki, did you get that?
Yep, I got it.
Okay. Just want to make sure we'll get a note, the notices out. So we got the typical, they're doing the Association of Towns conference in New York City. When is it? In February. And we got the standard certificate asking that we designate someone from the town if we go, which is a big if anybody goes, to be the delegate at the annual meeting of the Association of Towns, so that somebody's there to cast a vote if there is a need to. So I don't care if it's me. I'm not saying I'm going, but I'm saying if you would like me to be the delegate, that's fine.
Do we need to make a motion?
But yeah,
I'll make a motion that Renee will be the delegate at the Association of Towns Annual Meeting in New York City.
Second,
Carl beat you out this time, so Ann made the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The only other thing I didn't put on here, there's just a couple of things. First of all, we had a very short but simple ceremony at 5 o'clock this afternoon to honor former Justice Lou Alley. His wife, his widow, was presented with a plaque from the town, but also a proclamation from the county for his 40 years of service, which is amazing. And in exchange, not that we were looking for an exchange, but Mrs. Alley provided the town with a pencil rendering of Judge Alley that we will put both. The plaque was given to Mrs. Alley, but we're also going to have the one here hanging in the town hall. So we will figure someplace to put both those items. It'd be nice to put them near the justices. Well, you could put the plaque there, but not the rendering. Do you think we could put both of them there? Oh, yeah, we maybe could. Yeah, that's a good idea, Tim. Okay. He has an interior decorator streak in him we didn't know about. So that's number one. But secondly, I just think it's important when there's something new brought into the town that we acknowledge it. And the town is now the location for the Bruseum that the Onondaga Historical Society chose to locate at the Heritage Hill Brew House. And they had many options to choose from, and they chose Heritage Hill. And if you haven't been up there, it is a really Just a small addition to the building, but it gives a really nice history of brewing in central New York. So kudos to the town and to Heritage Hill for getting that.
Right.
Yep, it's a nice
That's very nice.
feather in our cap. And then last but not least, and don't shoot the messenger, but there is sexual harassment training we all have to take by the end of the year, I believe. And there is virtual, it's online. I will send it all out so that everybody gets it, but everybody in this in the town, your whole group included last year, I think they.
Didn't
went
they
to
do it in
Vegas.
Tully? Chuck, I think they've probably
They
done it
maybe
already.
did it.
Did they?
Sometimes they do it together,
When they go
but
to
the rest of
Tully.
us all have to do it. So I will share the link to being able to do it virtually. It is interactive, but
Right.
I've done it so many times.
I
It's
know.
not funny, but they require it every year. So just a reminder that that'll be coming.
One other thing about the Christmas party, how nice it was, the tree lighting, holiday
Yeah,
lighting was
yeah.
very nice. A
It
little
was.
cold, but it was nice. And it was a
It was not
wonderful,
just a little cold.
nice turnout.
It was a lot cold, right, James? It was freezing.
Very cold.
And it will be, it will not be that cold next year.
It was nice.
One way or another.
What?
We'll have to eat one way or another.
Oh, it had to. It was just freezing, but it was really, really nice. And thank you for your crew for putting up the lights, although they do need direction next year. A little haphazard. So, but, so the only other thing I have, is we're losing two very valuable, board members at the end of this year. One of whom is sitting here at the end of the table and who has put in almost 40 years himself representing this town. And Carl Dennis, I respect you. I think we all do. I think you've done an incredible job taking care of this town. And maybe it'll be nice for you not to have to do so anymore. You can just become a private citizen, but really, you will be missed. You've got your own, you've held your own always, and you'll be missed. So
Always thought of the town.
one of your replacements is sitting out here, and you got big shoes to fill if they're his, so. But, and Sheila, who is not here tonight, if she, not nearly as long a stint as Carl, but she also had her own contributions that she made, and she too will be missed. So we'll have a couple new faces in January, and actually, when I think about it, this whole board will be no older than 2 years old. Now, we will be a young board.
Right.
With losing some years of experience, but it'll be okay. Yes, so, but thank you, Carl.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
So, with that, I don't know if there's any public.
There were just a couple
Oh, and
things that
Don.
came up during the meeting. One is John Shaheen was saying that you were correct, the NYSERDA grant is for the LED lighting in the highway garage.
Okay, so good.
And one other one. Stan Gorman was saying that Harvey Skeel passed away as well this month.
How did we miss that? I missed that. Thank you, Stan. We will acknowledge that at the January meeting.
And he also just says, thank you, Carl and Sheila.
Donnie, did you want to say something?
Alan Chrysler. I own the land in 2627 Route 91. Also right next to the Long property, there was Long property. And what I'm just would like to bring up anyway to the board or whoever it would be, that Ray Carr and my property go out to Route 20 almost anyway. And the state comes up and they clean the ditch along Route 91, but they don't do anything. They just allow that to run over the land that heads to the west. And what's happened throughout, I've owned that property since 92, and the water, I'm gonna say the vegetation keeps dying off, it keeps building up, more and more silt or whatever. And that seems to have raised, where Ray, he was always able to mow out, but the last few years, and then I've lost the backyard of the Long property, which was always able to mow, that's going underwater too now. And there's no runoff or no ditching being done down Route 20 at all to carry that water, and it's just building up into that V now that's there. So I'm just wondering who I would bring that up to try and get that ditched out. There used to be a driveway right at the end of the guardrails on Route 20 as you're heading down toward Cherry Street, and Ray would use that for a driveway. And I mentioned it to the town when they were cleaning it out, or not the town, but the state employees, and there was a driveway there, but he's no longer even able to use that driveway because it's just soft now.
That was the state that cleaned that out the last time, probably 30 years ago.
Along Route 91 anyway.
Well, no, they dug that whole thing out because my aunt,
Had issue
Helen
too.
McDermott,
Yeah.
the ditch that runs actually behind her house,
Mhm.
it's the same way. It's building up, it's backing up.
That's it. It's all backing up and
But
raising.
the state is responsible for that whole,
And that's all I'm just bringing up.
Yeah.
Who, to maybe forward something to maybe get that so that water can run out of there instead of just building up and coming up on everybody's lawns. And right now is starting to get water in his basement, which I know it's been a wet year, but he said never, ever has he had the issue that he's had just in the last 2 years now.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring that up.
I'll reach out to, I'll start with the regional office, which is really out of North Syracuse, oddly enough, but it covers north of 20, and see what they recommend. And they'll probably send an engineer out to assess the situation. But, and I'll see if it would be helpful for you or Ray to be present, to explain what's changed.
Yeah.
Because if they don't live there, they're not gonna know what's changed, but, so let me see what I can do and I'll be in touch.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Are we good with public comment?
No.
Okay. So,
Adjourn.
second.
Okay, before,
you got a motion on the floor.
Okay, listen, can we just say to this town of ours that regardless of what your faith is, please have a happy and a healthy holiday season, okay?
Thank you.
And celebrate with family. And now, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned.